Hey, besties. Let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? Hey, besties. Happy Sunday. It's Behind the Shade. And baby, I just got through watching The Reunion Part 1, Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 10, Episode 18. We got to get into it because, baby, this was a good Part 1. Now, besties, let's get into some other business before we get started. Did y'all hear that Meredith Marks of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City will not be returning next season? I have her little statement. I don't know if I'm going to read it. Hold on, I did take a picture. Let me see. Let me see. I'm going to try to bring it to y'all. After much reflection, I have decided to step away from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Being part of this experience has been an unforgettable chapter filled with growth, lessons, and moments that challenged me in ways I never anticipated. Over the past several years, I have shared my life, my family, and my journey with all of you. I am incredibly grateful for the support, the conversations, and the community that formed along the way. That should have said that I formed along the way. I am especially thankful to the fans who embraced me, supported my businesses, and understood my commitment to authenticity and boundaries. At this time, I am choosing to step away with this. Oh, hold on. See, the font she's using is very cursive-y, and it's just okay. At this time, I am choosing to step away and disengaging from this chapter as I redirect my focus towards my family, my businesses, and new creative ventures that align with where I am personally and professionally. While this decision was not made lightly, it feels like the right step forward. I want to thank Bravo, the production team, and my castmates for the memories we created together. I leave this experience with appreciation and wish everyone continued success. With love and gratitude, Meredith. Ooh, she's leaving Salt Lake. And child, I heard that Angel Massey is leaving the Real Housewives of Potomac. Are we shocked? Besties, drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about Meredith leaving Salt Lake and Angel Massey leaving Potomac. Okay? Okay. Let's get into this episode. Child, where is Monique and Giselle? Put your leg down, honey. Don't cross your legs in that dress. We can see all your cottage cheese on your thighs. And it's not cute, honey. Okay. So we start the episode. We are at the Osefos crib, honey. So we went back to October 2025. This is a week after their arrest. And baby, Wendy is shook at it. Wendy is shook at it. She got that Janet Jackson voice going on. I feel like I've been raped. I'm hungry, but I can't eat. Oh, I don't know. Girl, what's that voice about? Child, Eddie says he feels pranked, by being taken away in handcuffs. They both sit on the couch crying. She's like, I'm scared. I'm scared for our kids. I'm like, you wasn't thinking about any of this while you was committing fraud charges. None of this. You thought you were getting away with this. You wasn't thinking about nothing. Your 4 degrees, all your jobs, being on the show, your kids, your family. Like, you didn't think that you would get caught. I guess criminals don't think they get caught until they do. Wendy asks Eddie, is their marriage gonna survive this? Because she's like, I'm not the same. I'm not the same. And he's like, baby, we've been together 15 years. We gonna get through this. Why wouldn't y'all survive this? Y'all did this together, Bonnie and Clyde. Like, why would you guys divorce behind this? Y'all are both at fault. Pam and what was her name? Pam Oliver and Eddie Hennessy. You guys are both in this together. Of course, why would you not survive? And what do you mean you're not the same? What happened to you in there, Wendy? Are you licking it low now? Are you carpet crunching and munching? You like women's? You didn't flip the script in the lady pond? Wendy. Okay, so at the reunion, everyone's coming onto the stage, finding their seats. Everyone's whispering about Wendy. Where Wendy? Y'all see Wendy? Wendy coming? Where Wendy at? She gonna be here? Did you see her? Well, here comes Miss Fabulous now, honey. Hey, girl, hey, feathers and all. So the OGs, Giselle and Ashley, said it felt very tough and foreign filming without Karen. Giselle admitted that she loves arguing with Karen, honey, and she missed that. Mm-hmm. Okay, because Karen, not Karen, because Giselle, you was a little quiet this season. I mean, you said just you talked your talk, but you held back a lot. And I like that for you. So then Andy focuses on the newbies, Angel and Tia. How was your first season, ladies? Angel's like, it was a rough landing, but I had fun in the process. You had fun, let me guess, when you got that crazy old dilapidated house in Colorado for the girls. Was that fun? When you had them come to your place and eat outside and sent them back, was that fun for you? When your friends, you introduced your friends to them and they didn't speak, was that fun for you? Because I know nothing else was fun for you, honey. But we'll move on. Let me get some water. Tia says she just wanted to meet new people. She just moved to Potomac like a few years ago. So she just wanted to meet, some friends. Stacy, well, she said she had a rough season, but she's glad her and Wendy's friendship has grown. Kiarna, she's like, I'm settled in, child. My second season, and I'm warmed up. So Wendy started the show in the beginning of her entrance, season. When did Wendy join? Season what? 3, 4, something like that. She said she was very unsure about herself. She had just had her baby girl, and they started filming like 2 months later, but now she feels empowered. And honey, Andy clocked that. He was like, oh, well, let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, Miss Empowerment. Okay, he goes right in. Tell us why you and Eddie were arrested. 16 counts of fraud? So Wendy's like, all I'm going to say is that we are being investigated and we have had court appearances. Yes. Okay. And so she admits that they were trying to hide everything from their kids because their kids would spend the night at her mom's or at her sister's. It was very random that they did it. Like they always, just any random day they would go spend a night. But that oldest son has a cell phone, honey. And I believe he's a preteen, if not a teenager. So he saw everything on his phone, but he never said anything to his grandmother or his auntie. So now I'm thinking it's giving that maybe the auntie and the sister, the mom and the sister live together, maybe. So Wendy was explaining that the next day when they got out of jail, she went to pick the kids up the next day and he had questions for her. And that just, she pulled over and they had to hug and cry together because they don't and will not lie to their children. So now they tell Carter, the oldest kid, when they have to go to court, since he knows what's going on. Okay. Then she explains to the group about her mug shot, because she said she was taking a nap. So when the police showed up to her doorstep, the kids were not there. And so she said she was taking a nap. And then, they were arrested. So they're like, oh, that's why that wig was crooked. She was like, possibly. And they was like, that was your nap wig? And she was like, no, it's my professor wig. And they're like, well, why were you smiling and kikiing in the picture? She said the guy that was taking the picture knew that she was sad and crying, and he was cheering her up. And it worked. So she says, no, she was not high. Then she gonna say Eddie on the other can was. She said he was something, but then she gonna say, I guess she kind of was like, what did I just say? Did you just threw him under the bus? So then she kind of clears that up and said, well, no, he hadn't had anything for a while. He was asleep at the jail. And so they woke him up to take his picture. And that's why he was looking the way he was looking. Well, you guys never expected to get arrested. And, you guys were well-to-do individuals. So being in jail and taking mug shots was going to be weird. You're going to look weird taking a mug shot. You're not supposed to look, hello, it's a mug shot. You're supposed to look crazy in your mug shot. You are in jail. You got arrested. You got busted. You need to, everybody should look molded, not smiling like they're at a photo shoot. Okay. So they did spend the night in jail. Some of the ladies said, oh, I thought you got out right away. And she was like, no, they were asking about it. Like, how was it? And she was like, yes, I was scared. When you go to sleep, they tell you when to go to sleep because they turn all the lights off, and they wake you up early in the morning because they turn all the lights on. And then they was like, so what did you do about the bathroom situation? She was like, I held it until I got home. I did not go. I held it. I was like, okay. And so Giselle's like, are you okay? And so Wendy's like, no, I'm not okay. You should be terrified. Are you terrified? Yes, I'm terrified, Giselle, duh. And she was like, I'm not okay, but I will be. It is what it is. If I go to jail, I'm just going to go to jail. Sound like Wendy that made some friends. Because she's changed. She's not the same. And she's wondering if she's going to stay with Eddie. Wendy, you better not file divorce from Eddie like it's his fault, like he made you do it. Don't you follow in the footsteps of Teresa and Joe Giudice. Child. Now Ashley talking about she's scared to go to jail because Karen has gone to jail. Wendy has gone to jail. Yeah, Ashley, you might go to jail for over there kikiing with Sharice's son when he was underage. You might need to visit jail. You know what I'm talking about? Now I'm scared. Okay, and what else are you doing? Why would you say that, Ashley? You got something you need to tell us? Don't let me find out you doing something illegal too. Why are you scared? Over there messing with minors. Child. So they move on to Stacy and her divorce. And then they kind of went to the QVC videos. And then we find out that, because Andy finds her videos very relaxing and refreshing. And does he fall asleep to them? He asked Kiana, could she fall asleep to the video? What kind of question is that? So then we find out that Stacy won Vanity Fair's 2025 Best Performance list. And I'm like, and so Giselle congratulated her, and Stacy was brought her back. She was like, wow, thank you, Giselle. And so Giselle said, well, yeah, with all this jail stuff going on, it was something positive that we brought to Potomac. So yeah, that was good. And I'm like, she only won Best Performance because y'all made Stacy your storyline last season. And Stacy knows how to play chess and not checkers. Honey, she played her role, honey, because she knows how to play her role. Look at her in the QVC videos. But even she says she's the same genuine person in her QVC videos. And I don't even know, like, why did she say that? What made you think to bring that up? Because what are you talking about? QVC is your job. You're here to sell merchandise. So you gonna go into your professional voice. I think everyone has one. If you're an adult and you're adulting, you do have a proper voice where you speak eloquently. You use, because you're trying to get stuff done. You're taking care of business. Let's call it a business voice, shall we? So she's trying to say that she's the same person. And so they're like, and Ashley's like, well, you're performing at your job at QVC because that's your job, is to perform to, yeah, you're a saleswoman. You're supposed to sell the things. There's something in my eye, besties. Hold the line. So Tia says Stacy has a QVC voice and she has another voice. Andy's like, how so? She said, I sat on a plane with her on the way back from one of the trips. And she said, when she's speaking regularly, she has a deeper speaking voice. So then Stacy goes on talking about Tia's accent. Tia's like, yeah, my accent really bothers you for some reason. Stacy says Tia's English accent has a lot of slips and slides also. And it's like, Stacy, she is African raised in London. So she's, British, whatever, right? English. She has an American husband, right? And her kids are American. So it's pretty normal that she's going to speak American sometimes and she's going to speak her native tongue. You only going to you hear what you say what you hear. She's not around English speaking people. Why does that bother you so much, Stacy? Whatever. So Andy asked Stacy about TJ, child. Why are we still talking about TJ? That was so last year's reunion. So she says, I still stand in my truth. Ain't nobody paid him to be. And why would she pay him? I believe her because, we just heard that some actress said something. I saw a video where TJ said he was going to come out and say something. TJ didn't even perform well. If she paid him to come onto the show to pretend to be her boyfriend, he did not deserve to get paid again. He came on there and acted like he did not like her. He came on there and acted like he friend zoned her. He was very clear that he was a Christian man. There was going to be no before marriage. That ain't something that you pay for. He was terrible. I think he was being his real, true, authentic self. Yeah, and if she paid him, then yeah, I see why she did not pay him to come to the reunion. He did terribly at being her boyfriend. Boo, TJ. So, let's see. TJ and Timo actually met when she was working at QVC because TJ is just the homeboy. And so Andy asked, is TJ the reason why you and Timo divorced? She was like, no. And Andy was like, well, who filed? She said, I did. And so then they went on to talk about how only Tia and Wendy met Timo, no one else. And so they're talking about the dinner that Timo didn't go to, and neither did Stacy. That's when Tia and Wendy and their husbands met up, and they called Stacy on the phone. And so Timo didn't go to dinner with Tia and Wendy because of Wendy and Eddie's involvement with the TJ debacle. What did I say? What the debacle about the TJ debacle? Hey y'all know it's 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. Oh girl behind the shade is ready to go to sleep. So the words change themselves, okay, at a certain hour. So, Timo not feeling Wendy and Eddie because they, kept that TJ mess going. And so they were like, well, why did TJ lie about being out of town? Lying. So, why y'all lying? Because y'all didn't come to the dinner. You said he was out of town, but he wasn't. And so Stacey's like, listen, he flies twice a week, sometimes internationally, okay? If he wasn't out of town, he was just coming in town, he was asleep, he was packing, I don't know. He was out of town, and that's what I said. He wasn't in town. And plus, Stacey said she didn't feel comfortable introducing Timo to Wendy and Eddie at that time. It very clear, we get it. And Stacey, you just needed to be honest about it. That's nothing that Wendy couldn't have handled. So Stacey asked Tia, and why did you tell Wendy what I told you? Because you should have told Wendy. Shoot. Tia's like, no, don't put that on me. You lied and got busted. And so instead of owning it, you said I lied on you, which is a lie. Because we all know Stacey be lying. Stacey tells Tia that she came to that dinner to gather information to take it back to her master, Giselle. Giselle was like, excuse you? Ashley said that was a strong word to use. Giselle was like, no, you, Stacey, report back to your master, who's Wendy. And now, yeah, let's be clear on who your master is. Tia says she was uncomfortable being around Stacey, especially after she repeated what Monique said about Chris and all the backlash that was caused because of it. Tia says Stacey told her that she does not know Chris. Then she turned around and said that she only knows him socially. She like, ugh, it's like Stacey got caught in a lie again. So Andy was like, at your cannabis event, do you regret kicking Tia out? Because Ashley kind of came with the smoke and you should have, kicked her out too. Stacey says, no. She gave a hard, strong no. She does not regret kicking Tia out of her cannabis event. Toodle-doo. Stacey says she didn't mention her cannabis line last year because it wasn't official yet. Giselle is like, you could have said that you was in meetings, that you was thinking about it, that you could have said something about it. The way you did it, you were just sneaking around. But it sounds like Stacey was having meetings trying to figure out which brand she was going to do. That's what it sounded like. And then Stacey tells Giselle, I don't owe you that, Giselle. And she didn't. So then Andy's like, and then you gave it a Nigerian name. And, Stacey's like, those are her roots. She is, 2% Nigerian. And so Wendy said, oh, you did that just to get back at me and Eddie. And Giselle asked, you think she's that deep? As deep as that cellulite in your thighs, Giselle. Stacey says, that's an interesting thought. Didn't think of that. So no, I'm not that deep. So Tia's like, the Nigerians want their name back. I said, all right, that was good, Tia. That was good. So a viewer asked Giselle, Ashley, Kiana, why are y'all so pressed about Stacey's business when it has nothing to do with you? And Stacey like, exactly. Give me my business back. So Eddie told Wendy, this is what Giselle said. Well, Eddie told Wendy that TJ was being paid, okay? We saw the paperwork from the actress when we were in LA. Me and Ashley was in LA. We saw the paperwork. What do you think we were going to do with the information? This is a reality show. We got to bring it to the show. Duh, you didn't think we was going to say nothing? We said it. You didn't own it. You lied about it. We can move on now. Child, and we all know Stacy, what she gonna do? Play victim and lie, lie, lie. And they're like, see, and this is why these women come for you, Stacy. And so Stacy's like, I know, huh? Yeah, like you need to stop. Your vagueness that you like to live in, that gray area you like to live in, yeah, you need to pick a color, black or white, Stacy. We don't like the middle, the gray area, because you kind of set things up to, lie, be dishonest. So Stacy says she gonna start being more direct and not beat around the bush. And Ashley says, yeah, dishonest is what you are. And then Andy says, some housewives get on this show, and they get gassed up by the fans and they change their behavior. So be careful, boo. So Stacey's like, well, I'll do better if I come back next season. Andy showed no signs of yes or no. So okay, so on their break, when they sit down and just kind of just little water break, Ashley lets us know that she got a vitamin D shot in her batuka, her butt. And Stacy's like, oh, that sounds romantic. You got vitamin D, vitamin D, vitamin D. Like, oh my goodness. Okay. So now we turn the focus onto Angel. Angel, where you live, girl? I live in Colorado, as you know, and we bought a house in Potomac. I think she paid close to $2 million for this house. And no, Tia was not the realtor. Tia says, I came on this show to make friends, not sell homes. Angel says she's going to use the same designer as the one in Colorado. Whoop-de-whooped. Toodle-doo. Okay, no. Oh, yeah, she's leaving. Okay, whatever. You know what, besties? I hear that her house, she shows her house on some website. She does a home tour, and they say that house in Colorado is bad, honey. I'm gonna look it up. And I'll report back, maybe. But I want you guys, if you guys saw it, put down in the comments what channel, where can we find it? I can't remember. Anyway, Angel, if you came on this show, like what did you come to do? Because at first, you kept telling us that you wanted the ladies to get to know you. And it seems like you didn't come on the show to be friends. And so, honey, Angel said she was done after learning that Ashley, Giselle, and Wendy talked about her getting evicted. She was like, I'm cool. And they was like, why you didn't check Tia? Because she was talking about you too. She the one that brought the information to Giselle. And so she said, well, me and Tia spoke about it. And, we cleared things up. We good. Okay. So then Andy goes to say that Bobby is the hottest housewife husband in the franchise, honey. And Angel was like, well, of course he is. And Andy said, ladies, ain't nobody gonna sit there and be like, yeah, your man fine, girl. No one said anything. He has showed his natural boop on this show, okay? Wendy says, no, my man is fine. Chocolate, yeah, uh-huh. Eddie is handsome. Bobby, no, he's not ugly, but I wouldn't consider him handsome. He's just tall. And to me, he looked like a big old kid. It looks like he looks like a kid. How old is he? She must be older. He's not bad, but I don't know I don't know. When I think Mauricio still might be but Eddie Hennessy or Eddie Ostefan, he's dark now. He's dark, but he's handsome. So then here go Stacy. Well, I like the white chocolate. And then they asked Andy, what do you like? And he said, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. I said, Andy, you like black men? Child. Well, I heard some things, but we gonna move on because this ain't about him. Okay, so then he talks about Angel and Kiana being friends. They admit that they've been friends for 20 years. And so they decided about they're talking about the chin checking comment. And so they decided not to drag this out because they've been friends and they're gonna keep it moving. They forgave each other. Let's keep it moving. Wendy wants Angel to understand where she's coming from about it because they came for her. And so Kiana speaks up. Well, what is this? What is this? And Wendy like, huh? We're not talking to you. I'm talking to Angel. Angel stops mid-sentence as she's acknowledging Wendy's feelings. And she was like, go ahead, Kiana. And Wendy's like, no, you go ahead, Angel. You were talking. You were going somewhere with this. I want to hear you out. And Kiana says, well, I'm talking now. Ooh, Giselle like, whoa. Wendy's like, what kind of friendship is this? She controls her? And I'm like, well, Wendy, what you're witnessing are two real friends. Not that, they should speak over each other and cut each other off and whatever, but they're friends. They're bonding. That's a bond, and only they need to understand it. Wendy, listen and learn, okay? So Kiana apologizes to Angel for even using the chin check word. So see what I'm saying? And that's a good save, Kiana. Kiana cut her off to apologize to her because she's, got her back. She like, you ain't even got to go into all that. Let me apologize first. And Angel said that to Wendy. Let her talk. And then when she's done, then I will speak again. It's their bond. It's their way. I like it, whatever. And then Angel, she acknowledged Wendy's feelings, and that was good. So cool. Everybody cool? Okay. So let's get on to this catfish comment, honey. So Giselle is like, listen, when we got the pictures of the people that's going to be on the show, I asked production, when was I going to meet this girl? Production said, girl, Giselle, stop playing. That's Angel. And she was serious. She did not know that was Angel. Angel, your pictures are highly filtered. You look different. Give it a rest. Andy asks, well, don't all y'all use face tuning? I use them filters every day. Sure do. Even on my dog. Even on the dog. You got to filter the dog's face too, Stacy. Okay. So the catfish comment was made by Giselle when they were in Nevis. Okay. She said, she wasn't being shady. The comment was over after they laughed at it. It was done and over with. But Angel, was like, hold on. No, because, I felt hazed. It was rude and cruel. And she says Giselle kept joking about it, but Giselle says Angel wouldn't stop talking about it. And I think Giselle, you are the one that's wrong. You kept all of y'all just catfish, cat. You and Ashley, y'all took that to the ground. Y'all did. And then at the table at Nevis, Stacy, Jasty, and Wendy were laughing about it. Wendy speaks up and tells Angel, that you came into this group with a plan. Angel, you wanted Giselle to be like your big sister. You didn't want no smoke from Giselle. But, you swore that I said that. And so she agreed with Wendy once again, and she apologized to Wendy. She said, but you wanted smoke with me, for real. Angel said, well, when it comes to you, Wendy, the interactions that I've had with you, you just had more dip on my chip. She said, no, I had more dip on my chip for you. I said, no, she didn't come out with a new one. Andy said, I like that one. I had more dip on my chip for you. And all that attitude you be having. So Andy's like, okay, Angel, explain when you was having lunch with your sister and you said Wendy has a-hole lips and a Forrest Whitaker eye. And so she just says simply that Wendy makes a face when she's skeptical about something and it resembles Forrest Whitaker. Wendy is like, well, that's wrong. It cuts pretty deep. You know, what if I called you James Earl Jones? And Andrew was like, not James Earl Jones. Angel was like, well, I'm sorry for the comment. I didn't mean to hurt you. Now, at this point, you either accept it or you don't. Okay. All right. So fans say Angel and Kiana, their names are, well, Kiana is Madness and Angel's name is Sadness. Not madness and sadness. Kiana's like, yeah, I watched the show and I do appear to be mad all the time, but it's not true. I get along with 85% of the group, so we good. Next. So Ashley, you bringing catfish to the party. That was shady. So what? It was funny. Angel said it was petty. Ashley tells Angel, you need to learn to laugh. Learn to laugh. Oh, Ashley. Ashley, the fans say you were meaner this season. They kind of used to always like your little pettiness and your messiness, but this season you appear to be mean and very nasty. And so Ashley said, care to elaborate? Angel was like, you've been mean to me, Stacy, Wendy. The Zen win is in the pin comment. And so Ashley's like, oh, sorry. Well, it felt like this whole thing was a joke. Like you were laughing at your mugshot, Wendy. Like, I didn't know how serious the charges were. And Wendy was like, girl, whatever. She said, it wasn't about my mugshot. I heard you had a hidden vendetta about me, against me. Ashley's like, what? A hidden vendetta? Girl, no. It's like when you came into this group, you just thought you was better than everybody, and you just, I have 4 degrees. I have 4 degrees. And so when Wendy and Ashley go back and forth the back besties, and she's like, how you feel about me is more about how you feel about yourself. Has nothing to do with me. Well, I don't brag about my accomplishments. And Wendy said, because you don't have none. Ashley's just a cussing bull crap beer, bull crap beer, bull crap beer, bull crap beer. I'm gonna make a jingle with that. And so Wendy is still like, girl, you ain't got no accomplishments. And so Ashley gonna say, I have one social security number. Child. Okay, that was good. Because what you're saying is Wendy has a few different socials because she got different aliases. That affords her to get all these fraudulent credit cards. But you could have went. I need to go deeper, Ashley. But that was a good little comeback. And it was so funny to me that nobody was going in on her charges and her fraud and all that because Wendy was going back and forth with Stacy, with Angel. Yeah, it would have been nice had they just went in on her. You're calling me a catfish, but you are a criminal. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Well, besties, that was the end of part 1. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Now, let me tell y'all, besties, I am leaving the country. I'm leaving on vacation for my birthday. My birthday is next Saturday, February 21st. I will not be doing Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Love During Lockup, Bell Collective, Real Housewives of Potomac, part 2 of the reunion, and Married to Medicine next week. It will not be on time. I get back, I believe, next Wednesday. And I had a thought, maybe I should bring my notebook with me. Maybe I could start writing notes down on the flight back home on my way back. Maybe I can get some work done on the plane, even though I'm supposed to be on vacation. But I will get these shows out. Possibly they might be dual, or maybe I'll see. I'll see. I might miss them. Maybe I'll just miss them. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I'll get back to you. But I'll be back, besties. Don't forget, hype the video. Can you please hype me up? Like the video, comment, subscribe. Make sure that notification bell is on. And I'll be back with another recap. It will be Married to Medicine. Bye, besties. Bye.